say record. All right, this is now we're here with today on podcast number 4, because that's important, I believe, to actually say the numbers. Podcast number 4. We are here today on the Love Your Diagnosis podcast with Phil Ybarra. I did get that wrong. Did I get that wrong? Ybarra.
No, that's perfect, Lynn. Well done. Not many Australians manage that, but well done.
Oh, thank you. I'm an Australian. All right, Phil, thank you so much for saying yes to being part of this. You're the first bloke, not that we're like, you do identify as a bloke, don't you?
This week.
This week. Perfect. All right. You're the first bloke. I'm very excited. So tell me what you were diagnosed with, how long ago, and a brief description of what your diagnosis was or is.
Okay, 2016, May, colorectal cancer. So I had a tumour in my lower descending colon.
Okay, and that was a simple. That was the simple diagnosis. What's it called? How do you pronounce that? Colorectal cancer. Is that what it's called?
Colorectal.
Oh, colorectal cancer. Okay. So if you could set the scene of what was going on in your life before this diagnosis, were you partying? Were you eating crap? Were you overweight? What was kind of going on for you in your life at the time of your diagnosis?
I was vegetarian. I lived very well. I had an organic farm. I was pretty much stress-free in so many ways, but I had obviously a different attitude than what I have today.
In regards to what?
Just living and stuff, you know. I was I'm a business lad basically, and that's what I've done in Australia, is just been a business lad really, and yeah, basically, and I was, you know, because if you look into the metaphysics of it all, or you know, is that where you get your cancer or your ailments in your life, if you're into that sort of thing, that alternative sort of look view, it's your colon is holding on to things.
Love that. All right, we'll get into that in a second. So, you know, I guess with any diagnosis, you reach a turning point. Well, I guess before even a diagnosis, were there symptoms you're ignoring for a while or being in denial about?
No, there weren't symptoms I was ignoring. I was bloated. I had all the typical signs of colorectal cancer. Now, you know, obviously, because when you're diagnosed with cancer, you go down the rabbit hole and you research every single little thing that you can, you know, you go down the world of Google, which isn't very helpful sometimes, you know. And I had issues for years and years and years, and I was going to see a particular doctor in Byron Bay, which I can't mention his name. But
why is that? Why can't you mention him?
Well, I think I had the opportunity to take him to the cleaners, and I chose not to because I was in a journey of I was just in a better place than being bitter or twisted or you know. But you know, it's probably a little regret that I do have that I didn't take him to the cleanings. You know, there's plenty of companies that would have jumped all over him and taken his practitioner's license off him for sure.
Okay, so we won't go too deep into that, but what you're saying is that he didn't do the right thing by you medically. Did he miss something?
No, I have obviously you can research, you can look at your history is all on Medicare, and you can see how many times I actually went in to get my PSA done, which is for your prostate, because I said there's something wrong with me. You know, Medicare, you're only permitted to get, I think, 2 tests a year for your PSA. I think I had 5 in about 7 months, and I said there's something wrong. I told him, you know, I was bleeding, you know, and he said, oh, it's piles. I said, it's not piles. I said, I'm bloating. And at the end of the day, I actually, I got my own poo test, and I did that, and it came back negative.
Wow.
So everyone on your 50th birthday, everybody gets a poo test sent to you, and everyone thinks, oh, this is great. This is what happens, you know, and I must be okay because it came back negative. My tumor was the size of my fist, you know, a tennis ball, a bit bigger than a tennis ball in my lower colon. So I
Oh,
was actually obstructed in my bowels too.
wow. Okay. How uncomfortable for you. And so the doctor that actually did find this out for you, what sort of test did they send you to do at the time?
Um, I changed doctors. I went to a fantastic doctor, which I'm still with. And he's an amazing guy. He's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful man. And he threw me in for a CT scan straight up. And I rocked into the down by the IGA, not far, just around the corner from where you are. There used to be, I think they're still there, um, I forget the name of the radiology place. Anyway,
Oh yeah.
I had
Yeah.
a scan done there, and I had a scan done by a lovely young lady that just come from Sydney, and she was all flowy in her gowns and everything. I said, "Oh, that's nice for you." So you just arrived. She says, "Yes, yes, I'm going to have a studio, and I'm doing yoga, and I'm buying scented candles." I said, "Oh, that's nice for you." And she looked at this. She did the CT and totally missed it. A tumor
Wow.
that big, man, that
You're
big. The
in
surgeon. Hmm?
you're invisible, Phil. Your insides are
Yeah,
invisible.
that's well, my surname is Y, so it's always last on the list in the alphabet, isn't it? So I've sort of got used to things like that.
Mr. Invisible. So that's like a few people that have missed it. Okay. All right. So what happened after that? So who the hell fucking found it?
Oh, so what happened after that? Oh yeah, I went to see another this doctor was a really good man, and I said to him, I've got I took a picture of what I was producing out of my bowels, and he just looked at it, and he just went, "Oh my God, you need a colonoscopy, and it's going to be too late on the Medicare. It'll be 6 to 8, 10 months or something." I said, "Look, I'll pay for it. I'll go to Perth. I'll go to Northern Territory. I want one ASAP." So I went for a colonoscopy, and then I was told there and then, you've got a huge tumor. We need to operate. And I went under the knife 2 weeks later, and the surgeon was he was he was a private surgeon and working in the public health system, and he was yeah, he thought he was a bit of a god, as they usually do, these surgeons, and I'm not I'm not too alternative or anything like that, but I'm up for always exploring different things. But he did say to me, he said, "Well, you've lost your trust in Western medicine." I said, "I sure have." He said, "You have been totally overlooked." And I did a naughty thing at the time. I recorded all conversations, which is illegal to do so, but I did that because when you get diagnosed with a heavy disease, sometimes you're in shock and you don't take it all in, and they use words that you've never heard before. So you
Yes.
go, "Wow, what is that?" God, that's interesting. And so, me being me, I just like to research things. Not being an educated soul.
Well, you're bloody coming across as educated in this. So you've lived it. That's the beauty of lived experience. Okay, you had 2 weeks. You had 2 weeks between when they found it and when you were
Yep.
under the knife. Were you quite relieved because you knew
No, no,
intuitive,
no, no. I wasn't relieved, because when you get a diagnosis of having cancer, and they're about to go in and with surgery, is that your cancer is quantified by TNO1, TNO2, TNO3, TNO4. You're fucked, dead, you're
What's
terminal.
that for people listening that don't?
That's the state of the tumor. So mine was a TNO1, which is a low grade tumor. If it was more than that, it would have broken the walls of my colon and gone through.
Mm.
And when it does that, the cells start to seed themselves elsewhere, and they grow other tumors. So they have a dance party, basically, an illegal dance party in your body.
Oh, wow.
Mm.
So you weren't relieved, but you weren't
No,
relieved. Why?
no. Because you don't know the grade of your tumor, you've got to have a grading done. And when unless you're in a really good place in within your experience within your spirituality or soul or whatever it is. I personally, like 95% of others you go into fear and shock, and the processing of anything of that is massive. It's like,
yeah, it's true. And you only had 2 weeks. Yeah, because you could look at it 2 ways, that you finally got your answer and you could stick your finger up to the already your view of Western medicine and go, I told you so, and I knew that I was right. Or you could just, like you say, you could just go into total shock and not know
I
what's next.
wanted to, at that stage, I just wanted to live. I just had things to do. I knew that I had things to do. So, yeah.
So at the time, Phil, the prognosis was surgery, and then what was there chemo involved? Like, what was the Western medicine approach?
Okay,
And then we're gonna flip it on its ass.
I had several MRI scans, CT scans, and it was looking good that they could get. So the solution was primary surgery. So first solution, surgery. So that's what they did. And then the prognosis for the pulling the tumor out and doing the I forget the actual term for that, pathology on it. It was what type of cells are in that, and whether it's broken the wall, and they dissect it. So what I said to the surgeon at the time, I said, "Can you video this?" He said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh yeah, we can film it all if you want and take photos, everything." I said, "Well, yeah, I'd really like you to do that." So he didn't actually video, but he took photos, and I've still got the photos today.
And we use some of them. Anyway, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
So after the surgery, what, I guess, well, firstly, did you have other people to consider with this surgery, or was it just purely about you doing what was best for you? Did you have to consult with a partner, or do you have, children, or anyone else, or was it just get me in, get it out?
No, I didn't have anyone. I was alone, and I was just really, it was about my farm, my businesses and stuff. But I don't know what, so I think the house was on the market and everything because I couldn't cope with it anymore, and I was going to go under the knife, and I wanted to go back to the UK. That's where I wanted to go back, but I had to get well first. But I met a lovely lady, so I ended up staying later.
Always good medicine.
Yeah.
Always good medicine. So, okay, now I know that you've done a lot of amazing things on the other side of this. So this is where the podcast gets really exciting, because we've explored, the medical side and what the diagnosis was and all that. But then afterwards, when it comes to, treatment and management and, long-term management so it doesn't come back, what then did you put in place to take care of yourself outside of Western medicine?
What did I put in place? I did many things, many things. I started a regime of ascorbic acid, vitamin C, IVs. I sold my farm. I joined a community out in Ybarra Valley that was all about integrated medicine. I got introduced into some great doctors that are into integrated medicine, plus on the Medicare watch, some of them. Look, and this is what I will say, is that chemotherapy and radiation have its place, and don't, everybody, especially in this area in the Northern Rivers, everyone goes, chemo, no, don't have that, it's fucking this, it's that. But when you're in that position yourself, and you have to look into it, and you really look at whether it's targeted nowadays, and it's target specific. It's not like it's just blasting you or anything like that. My tumor was that big, they thought they might have to radiate it to shrink it. So basically that's just cooking it, and it's so precise, within a tenth of a millimeter to shrink it. So I balance the two, integrated medicine and Western medicine. So I went on a regime of I joined a community. I started doing meditation every day, 2 hours a day. So I learned how to meditate properly, if you, well, all through long practice of meditation. And I did cold water therapy, ice baths, CBD oil, say water. The list goes on. Cerule, and I don't.
Keto, I know you did keto as well, didn't you?
Yeah,
Keto.
I did the keto diet, and then I've further than keto, I forced myself into apoptosis, which is cell death, which is really strong ketogenic diet. You know, where you divide your ketones by your glucose, and you get a GCI number, or forget what it is, and cell death is at 3, I think, like that. So it's a natural detoxification for your body, that all mutated and fragmented cells basically die. So, you know, it's like, so a cancer cell, what happens in a mutated or a fragmented cell is that the telomeres don't reach their point of toxel, I think it's called, where they die. They forget to die, and so they hang around for a while, and they go, "Oh, where's the party going on?" You know. So then they go, "Well, go and grow a tumor here." So that's, so there's ketosis, and then there's the further therapy, which is for a cancer therapy, and it's actually used as an adjunct, or whatever the word is, to run alongside it.
Yeah, as an adjunct, yes.
That's it, to run alongside.
Yeah. And was all this, sorry, go on.
No, go on.
Was all this propelled by your research, or was someone guiding you? Was there a doctor or a practitioner that was guiding you to do all these things, or was this just you in your intuitive thing going, I don't want this shit to come back. I'm gonna do whatever I can. I'm just going on to any, you know, trajectory to find it.
Yeah, I think I became quite obsessed, and today I'm not. I do look after myself. You know, it was all off my own back, really. You just start to hear things, and you sort of, you know, you get all these options in front of you, and you weigh up which is which, and what you hear, and different reports and studies, and then you start to. So I love study. I love science. So you know, and then obviously then you balance it with sitting there and meditating on your navel.
And so how long were you obsessed for? What was the period of time that you became obsessed with your
2 years,
health?
possibly
2 years.
2 years. Yeah.
Right. Okay. It's
Yeah.
quite amazing. I'm going to put in the podcast notes some of the things that we've been talking about, because there's so much that you've done, and I'm sure that people will be interested to research it themselves. So we'll put a list of things of the treatments that you looked into. It's quite, you know, it's a very committed, disciplined thing that you've done there for your health, which, you know, hats off. Even though I'm not wearing one, it would be off if I was wearing one to you.
Well, some people roll over and just go, yeah, give me the meds and whatever you do. Like if one message I can send out to everybody or anybody that gets diagnosed with cancer, or full stop their health, full stop, is one message: never trust your doctors 100%. Get a second opinion and research. Don't be led by the nose, ever. And that's it. That's basically it. You know, do your own research.
I 100% back that up, and that was going to actually be my next question. What would be your final statement to wrap it up? And it's true. And get back in the driver's seat of your diagnosis. One final thing, Phil. Would you say that you live in fear of it coming back, or have you just surrendered to it and now you love the fact that if it does, it does, and if it doesn't, it doesn't?
It's an interesting thing, because after the period of time that I was obsessed with keeping well, I also came to the point that, you know, when I joined this community and I started going on journeys and crossing off my bucket list around the world, I went to Osho's in India, the in Pune, you know, the sannyasins thing, to have a look at that, and you know, and I you know, I did things that I would never have done, and it is, I learned one thing really, is that the bullshit stops. And everybody says cancer is a big journey, you know, the bullshit stops, you know, it's like living with bullshit, and people that around you or surround you with bullshit, or, you know, the bullshit, basically the bullshit stops. Surround yourself with people that are love, kind, and compassion. Even if you've got that in your life, and genuine, authentic people, you're a very wealthy person, you know, if you've got that. So I was a business lad for many, I still am, but it's many years, and I was surrounded by bullshit, really, you know, and now I don't live in fear. I'm in relationship, obviously, and I'm now attached. Before I wasn't attached. I was keen to leave because I had septicemia nearly killed me in hospital. So I had 2 emergency responses in that. And, you know, I was ready to leave, and I know what's over the other side, and it's a beautiful place, and it's lush, you know, there's no words can ever explain what is there. So my faith in that, in the other side of where we're going, is amazing. And anyone that is passing over, they're lucky, you know. It's unfortunate for the other people around. So answer the question in a long-winded way, is that no, I don't have fear. I think I've got a few more things to do. I you know, is that, you know, projects or different things that I want to do, I want to achieve for the greater good, rather than for the greater good of my wallet.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
I bought some DJ things. I bought some of those denim things, you know, so we should get together and have a spin on that. That's the greater good for me, to see people enjoy and having fun, because I believe, you know, what I believe is, if you're coming from a really pure place in yourself, and a lot of people say this is, oh, how do you do this in business, Phil? How do you get on with this? You know, funny enough is that I had my biggest ever financial year after I had cancer. And that's because I really let go of everything, and my risk taking went up, you know, and I had my biggest ever financial year. And because it didn't mean anything, and it doesn't mean anything today, you know, but what means more to me is people that feel love and joy, or you know, happiness, or a sense of fun around myself and my partner and whatever we choose to do. And if people are on that groove, it's great. If they're not on that groove, they can fuck off.
Oh, I love that. I love that as the parting statement. We're going to stop there, because I don't want anything else to even ruin that last statement. So we'll say thank you for your time, and thank you for your experience and sharing it, because it's really like, it's a strong thing that you've done for yourself, and great words to share with other people. So thanks for your time, Phil, and good luck with everything.
Thanks very much, Lenny. Lovely to see you over Zoom. And yeah, nearly. Whoops. Bye.
Right. Stay on the call though. Hang on, I'll edit
Okay.
that bit.